You guys know what's even worse than being gifted several different title shots in the heavyweight division, really not having to do too much to get these back-to-back opportunities? You might be thinking, what could be worse than that? That sounds pretty good. And it is pretty good for Bongami. Now, as you can see, this is my favorite meme that exists for Ciryl Gane. When you go to make breakfast, but all the cereal gone. Anyway, what's even worse in MMA than being gifted all of these title shots is having a delusional coach who is leading you through the forest of delusion and allowing you to believe you're deserving of these title shots, and also allowing you to believe and trying to get everyone else in the world to believe that you didn't duck the true tests in the heavyweight weight class because you were sitting on your ranking thinking you did enough to earn back-to-back title shots. So what I'm going to be going through today, guys, is the delusions of Ciryl Gane's coach, who just went on Ariel Helwani show this week to say that Tom Aspinall is lying about Ciryl Gane ducking him multiple times, even though Tom Aspinall was offered several fights with Ciryl Gane where he accepted and Ciryl denied. And also Ciryl was offered fights against Curtis Blaydes, another heavyweight contender. And Curtis Blaydes himself said that Ciryl Gane also turned down a fight with him. That's besides the point. Fernand Lopez is now, in my opinion, taking the trophy for the most delusional coach outside of Javier Mendez, who is Umar Nurmagomedov's coach, that said Umar won that fight against Merab. Javier is now losing the crown of delusional coach, and it's going to Fernand Lopez, because Fernand Lopez, as smart as this guy probably is, especially regarding his ability to coach a high caliber athlete like Ciryl Gane in kickboxing and things of that nature, he is missing quite a few brain cells when you're talking about critical thinking, especially in the sense of this particular instance. Fernand said on Ariel Helwani's show that what Tom Aspinall has been whining about Ciryl, saying Ciryl, denied fights and didn't want to fight him, only wanted to fight for the belt, that it was all lies, okay? The reason I have to make a video about this is because there could not be a more ignorant and incorrect statement that could be said by Fernand Lopez in this regard, mainly because on Ariel Helwani in 2025 saying Ciryl never ducked Aspinall. What I'm going to show you guys today, we're going to go back to 2023, September of 2023, when Ciryl Gane himself on the MMA Hour, which was Ariel Helwani's show on a different channel, specifically said, I am not going to fight Tom Aspinall. It doesn't make sense for me, is what Ciryl Gane said. After Tom Aspinall was sitting outside the octagon after Ciryl got that win over Sergey Spivak, Tom said, I'm going to step in there, like we'll do a face-off. Ciryl Gane not only didn't do that, but on the show with Ariel, explained why fighting Tom Aspinall doesn't make sense for him at this point, because he wants to fight for the belt. So what I'm going to show you guys that clip here, and you're going to see how dumb Fernand Lopez looks by saying what he said, that Ciryl never ducked him, even though Cyryl's own words literally say, I ducked him. I'm not fighting him. I will not fight him. It doesn't make sense for me. So I'm going to roll that clip right now for you guys.
It has been 16 days since your fight. Any sense of what is next yet?
What'd you say, sorry?
And any idea what is next for you? I saw Tom Aspinall was there. It seemed like he was interested. What do you think happens next?
I know a lot of people talk about Aspinall, but this doesn't make sense for me. Like every time with my management, they did a really great job all of my career. You see, that's why it was really so fast. And now I just want to go to the belt. I'm number 1 contender. He's number 4. It doesn't make sense. I just want to go now. I did it already. It was a big risk against this wrestler. So now I don't want to make and to have another risk. I want to take a risk for something for a big deal. You see. And I'm gonna stay here for a long time. So we're gonna have time with Tom Aspinall for sure. We're gonna come. So no worries for the people. We're gonna do this fight. But now my fight is not this one. I just want the belt, and I want to go to belt.
So, as you can see, Mr. Fernand Lopez, Mr. Delusional Coach of the Year, if you will, whatever you want to call it, here he is with Ciryl Gane. And obviously, if you guys watched the Ariel Helwani video, I'll link that below. I did not want to show any clips of him talking about Tom Aspinall because the audio is pretty shitty. And you guys can go and check that out. Specifically, if you're looking to see what Fernand Lopez said about this, within Ariel's video, you can watch here's a couple timestamps, and I'll put these in the description, but 11:38 to about 12:33 is when he says his first initial comments, and then from 14 minutes and 12 seconds to 17 minutes and 12 seconds, he explains what happened last year when Ciryl was offered a title shot, another title opportunity against Tom Aspinall, where he actually was filming a series or movie and was unable to make a Manchester date. You guys can watch it on your own, but I had to go out there and put this out there because what's so funny to me is that Fernand Lopez tried to tell Ariel Helwani that, the MMA media is, picking up what Aspinall's saying and running with false narratives. But how can you claim something's false when your own fighter said it out of their own mouth that they don't want to fight Tom Aspinall? And it's not just Tom Aspinall who said this. Curtis Blaydes has also said in the past that Ciryl Gane didn't want to fight him. He was offered a fight with Ciryl Gane. He accepted. Ciryl Gane said no. And what I find hilarious about that, guys, is that when you consider a lot of the up-and-coming prospects in the heavyweight division, Curtis Blaydes has kind of been like that Max Holloway of the heavyweight division when Max was in featherweight, where if you were a contender who's going for the belt, your first stop is Max Holloway. And if you get past the Blessed Express, you get your title shot. Now, in some cases, that wasn't always what occurred. I do think Ilia Topuria got pretty lucky with his matchmaking. He was able to go past getting a fight with Max Holloway to get a title shot based off a win from a dominant win over Josh Emmett. Besides the point, Curtis Blaydes was that guy. And if we look at styles, skills, Curtis Blaydes was likely going to give Ciryl Gane the hardest time in the UFC before he got to his heavyweight opportunities, like getting a belt opportunity. Curtis Blaydes, like hindsight looking back, would have been the biggest test for Ciryl Gane, especially knowing Ciryl Gane has dog shit ground game. Do you guys actually think in your heart of hearts that Ciryl Gane would have even made it to that belt opportunity if he had to go through Curtis Blaydes first? Do you even think he beats Curtis Blaydes in a fight? I think he definitely could, but I feel like when you look at their styles, Curtis Blaydes' style is a very tricky and difficult style for someone like Ciryl to deal with, especially considering he is not a ground ace, doesn't do that well on the ground, probably would get overpowered and overpressured on the ground from Curtis Blaydes. Regardless, I had to make this video to just talk about that a little bit, talk about the fact that it's very interesting how he was able to kind of rise up in the ranks and fight guys that were favorable matchups for him. Now, what I want to go through finally in this video, after, obviously showing you guys what Ciryl actually said and knowing that he actually ducked Tom, what I want to show you is the context behind this situation specifically, where Ciryl talked about winning against Sergey Spivak and why he feels he should get the next crack at the title, although at this point he'd already lost the title 2 fucking times. So I'm going to show you guys the record of Ciryl Gane and what he felt was deserving of getting a title shot. So as you guys can see here on my screen, got it pulled up, Ciryl Gane fights Francis Ngannou for the belt in January 2022, January 22nd, 2022. It's actually the same day I got my dog Doja. Very, very fun day. We sprawled out on the couch and watched this fight together. So, as you can see, he loses to Francis Ngannou in this fight. And in that fight, despite what you might believe or not believe, we all know that Francis was kind of, up against the gun of the UFC, right? Like he had a torn ACL. The UFC was doing a lot of, different tactics to push for Ciryl to be the guy that gets this belt, that wins this belt. Regardless, Francis goes out there and wins this fight pretty convincingly, in my opinion. The next fight Ciryl takes is in September of 2022, where he fights in France against Tai Tuivasa, gets dropped, but ends up finishing Tai Tuivasa, ends up being a great win. Okay? That's all fine and good. That win gets Ciryl Gane another title shot against Jon Jones, which honestly, guys, pretty fucking nuts when you consider he got a title shot off of one win over Tai Tuivasa, which Tai Tuivasa is a fun fighter and all, but come the fuck on, man. Come the fuck on. You are going to get a title shot off that. Regardless, he gets another crack at the title against Jon Jones in March of 2023, and we all know how that goes. Got choked out pretty rapidly. Jon literally treated him like a big brother, said, yo, where's my fucking phone charger? Cyril's like, I don't know. Big brother Jon said, yeah, you effing do. He put him to the ground, choked his ass out. Ciryl coughed up the charger. That's exactly what happened. And what do you fucking know? Ciryl leaves that fight, gets a fight in September of 2023, which this guy just gets UFC fight nights in France every fucking time. Like, he literally fought, when he wasn't fighting for the belt, guys, he got several main events in his home country. Like, how do you get more favored? How many times has Curtis Blaydes gotten a fucking main event where he's in his own, town? Never. I don't think he's ever had one. And Curtis Blaydes is, resume-wise, I mean, come on. It's not even comparable, but regardless. So, September 2023, Gane has a fight against Sergey Spivak, which, like I said again, on paper, this fight is just, it's like almost everything is in favor of Ciryl getting a win, because although Spivak has some ground game, he doesn't have the hands to set it up. So it's not a good matchup for that of Sergey Spivak. Regardless, Tom Aspinall's cage side here. Ciryl gets the W. Ciryl then says he's not going to entertain a fight with Tom Aspinall. I'm not going to do the whole face-off in the cage. And then he goes on Ariel Helwani and says exactly what you guys have already seen. I'm going to fight, I'm going to wait to fight the winner of the belt. Interesting. And so finally, I think the UFC probably realized, we've given this guy multiple opportunities. Pavlovich is clearly next. If it's not Jon or Stipe, Pavlovich is obviously next. So that's why Pavlovich was the backup fighter for the originally slated title defense from Jon to Stipe in November of 2023. We get to November 2023. Obviously, Jon gets injured. Stipe says, I only want to fight Jon. Fair enough. In my understanding of this, the UFC's contracted to have two title fights on that Madison Square Garden card that occurred in November of 2023. Fair enough. They've got to scramble. They got to make something happen, because now that Stipe won't fight Pavlovich, there's this open realm where they have to contractually meet having two title fights, which meant we've got to have someone step in on short notice. Don't know if Ciryl got that call, guys. I really don't. I would imagine that he's been like this golden boy for the UFC, so he probably did get that opportunity. He probably said no. But even if not, Tom gets that call 10 days before. Tom accepts that fight. And this is what's so funny is Fernand Lopez also tried to say that Tom denied or ducked fighting Sergey Pavlovich, which I find fucking hilarious because it's like Fernand just is missing something in his frontal lobe or he's missing an area of his brain where he can't remember that Tom Aspinall took a fight against Sergey and knocked his ass out. And before Tom fought Sergey, I want you guys to know, because a lot of you might not have even been watching UFC regularly at this point. Tom Aspinall was a huge underdog in this fight. Sergey, before getting in there with Tom, had KO wins over several of the top 10 in the UFC heavyweight division, was the marauder that everybody was scared of. When I found out Tom was fighting him, I was actually scared for Tom because I was already a fan of Tom. I literally said to like family, friends, I'm like, I'm worried for Tom Aspinall. Like Sergey hits like a truck and has just relentless pressure. Regardless, Tom goes out there and does what he does, shocks me and shocks most of the world. And this is where we end up. Tom is the interim champ, and you've got Ciryl. He fought Sergey in September of 2023. Ciryl sits out until December of 2024. So a year and like 3 or 4 months before he gets back in there. He barely wins a fight. Like he shouldn't even have won the fight against Volkov. And I've already said my piece on this. That is Volkov's win, in my opinion. Ciryl barely wins, and now he is lined up for another title shot. And I could shit on Ciryl Gane. I don't want to though, because Ciryl Gane, I gotta say, Bonga Mean, he seems like a really nice guy. Like I'm being genuine. I think he seems like a nice dude. I think he's doing what's best for his career. That's all fine and good. Don't try to act like you didn't duck Tom Aspinall, and do not try to act like you didn't duck other contenders in the heavyweight division, because you absolutely did. So if you could just accept that and like, let's just look at the facts of the situation, then everyone can move on and be happy. You know, we'll let Ciryl get his shot against Tom Aspinall, which who knows, you know, I'm worried for that fight too, not because I think that Ciryl has this game that's going to be so hard for Tom to figure out. I think Tom will win this fight. I'm worried because the MMA gods have a very weird sense of humor. And sometimes like the sure things that you expect to happen, especially with like myself, I know a lot of other people, big fans of Tom Aspinall. We all want to see him get an official defense, even though his defense over Curtis Blaydes should honestly count as a real title defense, because we all know John was not going to fight him. But regardless, it could go Cyryl's way. Now, besides that point, I just think it is hilarious that Fernand Lopez tries to go on the Ariel Helwani show, tries to air out some sort of dirty laundry, but it's like the dude didn't even think that, oh, maybe my own fighter who I'm the coach of actually openly admitted to ducking Tom Aspinall. No, there's no way. He never ducked him. Tom's lying. Like, dude, do you even like watch your fighters' interviews? And how do I remember this? Like, I'm not even like in the same country as these dudes. But as a fan, I remember the words that were said. And I remember feeling like, what the hell? Like, you are straight up admitting to ducking fighters. Like, and you just think you're just going to be gifted a title shot again. And what's crazy is he literally had to do nothing but go out there and somehow get gifted a decision against Volkov to get one more title shot after sitting out for a year and 3 months. It is absolutely appalling that this is even happening. But guys, I had to make this video because it's really frustrating for me as a fan. And I had to set Fernand Lopez straight. He's now got the crown for being the most delusional coach at this time. He took that crown from Javier Mendez, who is still talking about Umar winning against Merab, which didn't happen. And the fact that Umar and Javier, they all think that Umar is just going to be penciled in for a rematch without fighting is fucking hilarious. Because you could shit on Sean O'Malley all you want, at least he actually won the fucking belt and gave Merab a chance and defended against Merab, or tried to defend. Sorry, he did not defend. He tried to defend. Umar has done fucking nothing in that division. He beat Corey Sandhagen, and that's it. You really can't even look at the other wins he has, because they are not even guys that were in the top 15. Mind you, one of the guys that is likely to be a new contender at some point was debuting on short notice. And that's what gave Umar the lined up fight against Corey Sandhagen. Like, it's just ridiculous. Before I continue to ramble on other topics, I'm going to end this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to Fite Feed and give this video a like if you enjoy. I would love to hear, how do you feel about this situation? Comment below your thoughts on this whole Ciryl Gane ducking Tom Aspinall. And do you think he ducked him? Based on this, I mean, he clearly did, but I would love to hear what you guys think. Thanks again. See you in the next one.